In this video, or a couple of videos, I don't know, I got a lot of information to cover here. I'm going to be giving you guys some resources to take the power back from the psychiatric and the mental health establishment. Now, what I want to make sure that people understand, I am not a physician. I am not an MD. I am not a DO. I am not an ND. I am not a chiropractor. I am not a dietitian. I am not a nutritionist. I am not an LPN. I am not an RN. I am not a nurse practitioner. I am none of that. This video is not medical advice. Once more, this video is not medical advice. I am not qualified to give medical advice. Therefore, I am not giving medical advice. The first resource I'm going to give you is, this is Dr. Abraham Hoffer. Now, Dr. Abraham Hoffer is a famous psychiatrist that successfully treated, he treated schizophrenia and other mental illnesses with orthomolecular medicine. He coined the term orthomolecular psychiatry. And what orthomolecular psychiatry is, orthomolecular psychiatry is the use of nutrients, hormones, and other things that naturally occur in the body to basically encourage the body to heal itself. So we're going to see what Dr. Hoffer took every day, and I'm going to interject here and there to give my 2 cents.
This one is called B complex 100s. It contains all the B's in just about the right concentration. I take one a day. This is a very important selenium. They're 200 micrograms each, and I like it, so I take 3 a day.
I would very strongly not recommend taking that high of a dose of selenium. If you're taking a multivitamin with selenium and eating a lot of, dried beans, whole grains, and if you eat meat, if you're eating like tuna fish, things like that, you're going to get plenty of selenium. You don't have to supplement necessarily with extra selenium. And selenotoxicity can cause some issues. But let's move on.
It's a very important antiviral agent. It's my favorite, niacin. These are 500 milligram tablets of niacin. This is a bottle of 500. And I take 3 of these 3 times a day.
An important caveat with niacin is if it's the non-flushing kind, niacinamide, if you take a very high dose, you run a high risk of liver failure or liver disease being caused. Even with nicotinic acid, which is the flushing kind, the better kind, which is used to treat hypercholesterolemia, you do run a smaller risk, but still a risk of liver failure and liver disease. There are 2 anti-aging supplements, NR, nicotinamide ribonucleotide, and NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide, and both NR and NMN, these are other forms of vitamin B3 that do not seem to have any issues with any effect on the liver now, or with blood sugar. It doesn't seem either, and that's another thing with high doses of niacin. It can raise the blood glucose level. So let's move on here.
Vitamin C, especially made in the States by a friend of mine who owned his own company called Energen C. I take 2 grams a day, 2 pills at noon and 2 pills at supper time. Vitamin A, each one is 10,000. These are over the counter. I take 3 of those, so I'm taking 30,000 units of vitamin A every day.
I would recommend sticking with the carotenoid version of that, which is beta-carotene. I personally supplement with beta-carotene. You don't necessarily have to. If you're eating a lot of green leafy vegetables, a lot of carrots, a lot of squash, a lot of things like that, you're probably getting more than enough beta-carotene, which is converted to vitamin A. It's pro-vitamin A. You can't get too much beta-carotene as far as I know. If you do get too much, it will turn your skin orange, but it doesn't seem to be lethal by any stretch of the imagination, whereas the animal-based vitamin A, which is what he's talking about there, that can have very bad issues again, with the liver, bone health, things like that. So I would recommend sticking with the plant-based vitamin A.
N-acetylcysteine, called NAC. It helps the body make glutathione. It's a very important antioxidant. I take 1 gram, 2 of these 3 times a day. This one is coenzyme Q10. They're 100 milligrams each, and I take 3 of those a day. It's a very important muscle enzyme. It's good for cardiovascular disease. I use it against Parkinsonism, and it has other values too. I don't have those, but I take it to make sure I don't have them. Vitamin D, famous vitamin D. They're 1,000 units each, and I take 6 a day, whether I'm in the sun or not. Salmon oil for the essential fatty acids. They're 1 gram, and I take 2 a day. This is calcium magnesium. I take 2 a day. Zinc, very important. Zinc citrate. These are 50s, and I'm taking either 1 or 2 each day.
Now notice he said zinc citrate and not zinc oxide. Zinc citrate is absorbable. Zinc oxide is not very absorbable.
Folic acid. Little yellow pill. These are 5 milligrams each. These are on prescription. And I don't write prescriptions anymore, but I have a supply from the past. I take 1 of these every day. Vitamin E. 400 units. This is the natural form. I take 1 in the morning, 1 at night. And the last one, alpha lipoic acid, which protects the liver against all sorts of toxic effects. Very important. These are 200s. Yeah, these are 200. I take 3 a day. So that's the list. Adds up to about 500. Sorry. Seems like 500. It adds up to 50 pills a day. It's my personal regimen. I don't recommend it for everyone. It might be good for some. It might not be good for others. It has to be totally individualized. And I've been working at this game for 50 years. I know pretty well what I should be taking.
Now, this is my playlist that I've made for Kara Fitzgerald. I highly recommend people watch her videos. She created a diet that effectively does reverse the aging process, the biological aging process, through the use of foods and lifestyle. Okay, so it's very important. Now, before I get into this, I want to make sure that you understand, as far as I know, she does not make any claims that her diet helps with psychiatric issues or anything of that nature. But a lot of the complications with psychiatric issues, such as cognitive issues and other issues called all like depression, cognition issues, things like that, these are all issues that do manifest as a result of biological aging. Furthermore, a lot of the issues caused by the psychiatric medications, such as autonomic dysfunction, things like this, these do improve with micronutrient supplementation, as I've covered in previous videos. So what I want to point out is it's extremely important that you understand that following a diet, now another one is Dr. Terry Walls created a diet called the Walls Protocol. This diet is very similar to the Walls Protocol, and one of the things is it's the use of methyl donors, so lots of B vitamins, okay, and a lot of what Kara Fitzgerald termed autonomic, what are called autonomic adaptogens, which are things that help to make sure that methylation stays where it's supposed to stay. It's turned on the genes where we want it turned on, and it stays turned off on the genes we don't want it turned on. So it turns it off on the ones we want it staying off on, and it turns it on the ones we want it on. So that's what epigenetic adaptogens do. So this is also very similar to the Walls Protocol or the Atkins age-defying diet. The difference is what Kara Fitzgerald does is she discusses, because we know now, why these things work. That's what's really important. Why do they work? Now, one of the big differences between Dr. Walls, Dr. Atkins, and Dr. Fitzgerald is Dr. Walls and Dr. Atkins make use of nutrients, nutrient supplementation. pills, things you can take as a pill. Dr. Fitzgerald's program doesn't necessarily involve the use of any pills unless you're a vegan. Of course, you have to supplement with B12 because you ain't going to get it from your food. But that's important to understand. So keep in mind, she does not, as far as I know, make any claims of her diet doing anything for psychiatric conditions. However, the Walls Protocol, which is a very similar diet and operates very similarly with the methyl donors and the epigenetic adaptogens, that has been shown in research to help heal issues with traumatic brain injury, depression, things of that nature. So keep that in mind, and PTSD. So keep that in mind. And the Walls Protocol, that research was funded by the Veterans Affairs people. It's good research, and I recommend people look into the Walls Protocol. I've covered the Walls Protocol in the past, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but I wanted to show people this playlist. Definitely look into this playlist, take a look at it, play some of her videos, listen to what Kara Fitzgerald has to say, and read her book. So this is Kara Fitzgerald's book, Younger You. You can purchase it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Bookshop, BAM, IndieBound, and Walmart. The plan included in Younger You is the first of its kind to be scientifically proven to lower your biological age. By following it, you can achieve the genetic expression of a younger person, meaning it is turning back your genetic age and have more resilience, better cognition, higher energy, and a more youthful appearance, and most importantly, a lower risk of every major disease, since aging is the biggest contributing factor for each. So keep that in mind. So the problem, if you're having problems with cognition, with low energy, if you don't like the way you look, if you're looking a little haggardly, okay, you have to remember, biological aging is a contributing factor to every one of these things. Following the Younger You program or a similar program will help you to reverse some of these issues and help you to have the genetic expression of a younger person. Even as some fast for 22 hours a day, eliminate all carbs, or inject themselves with hormones in the name of optimum performance. Younger You, so keep this in mind, this is what some people do. She's saying this isn't necessary. You don't have to eliminate all carbs. You don't have to inject yourself with hormones necessarily. What she's saying is what the Younger You program, or the protocol that she created, proves, and they've studied it, you can have better performance with simpler interventions. It's biohacking for the rest of us. The groundbreaking program in Younger You works because it focuses on optimizing DNA methylation, the most pervasive and powerful influence on epigenetics, which is what determines which of your genes are turned on and which of your genes are turned off. By supporting your epigenetic expression, you not only reduce biological age and increase your overall health span and lifespan, you can also improve your family's health across generations. And that's because epigenetics are actually hereditable. Maximize your genetic potential, delay aging, and ward off any threats lurking in your lineage by grabbing a copy of Younger You. And I highly recommend that you do that. So I did a video, I think I did a number of videos on Dr. Morgan Levine. She really kicks ass. Like, she is kicking major ass with a lot of this stuff. So who is Dr. Morgan Levine? Dr. Morgan Levine is a founding principal investigator at Altos Labs. Prior to joining the record-breaking startup, she was a ladder-ranked professor at Yale University. Her research focuses on the science of biological aging, specifically using bioinformatics to quantify the aging process and test how lifestyle and pharmaceutical interventions alter the rate of aging. As a leading voice in the field of aging and longevity science, she has been featured in media outlets such as CNN, The Guardian, Time, Newsweek, The Huffington Post, the BBC, and many more. She also appeared in the docuseries by Netflix and Goop alongside Gwyneth Paltrow, which was released in early 2020. And I had already mentioned this in my last video. I just thought I'd go over it again in case you're wondering, does it sound familiar? Of course it does. I just said this. This is Dr. Greger, Dr. Michael Greger, speaking at Google. I'm not going to watch the video and record the video, though I do strongly recommend people watch this video. All these things that I'm going over are linked in the description, and I strongly recommend that you watch them, read them, go through them. So, the vast majority of premature deaths can be prevented through simple changes in diet and lifestyle. Now, a lot of what Dr. Greger goes over are the epigenetic adaptogens. Okay, through his daily dozen, you're going to be ingesting a lot of what we now call epigenetic adaptogens. These are things that, again, they make sure that methylation is turned on the right genes and turned off on the right genes. It's making sure that your genes continue to express themselves as they would in a younger you. Okay, so he goes over a lot of the epigenetic adaptogens, whereas Dr. Fitzgerald shows the epigenetic, the methyl donors, which increase methylation, and on top of that, the consumption of epigenetic adaptogens, so that while you're turning on your methylation, you're also making sure, because as you get older, methylation decreases, but it gets wonky. So the epigenetic adaptogens keep your methylation from getting wonky. Now, I'm a big believer in supplements, despite what Dr. Fitzgerald says. I don't think there's any really hard evidence to suggest that you shouldn't supplement with B vitamins and supplement with folate and supplement with these things, although she tries to make the case in her book. I don't agree with her. I agree with supplementation, but I agree with taking in as many epigenetic adaptogens as you can. In fact, I agree with taking in far more than she recommends. But I'm not the doctor, and this is not medical advice from me. But you have to understand what Dr. Greger's saying here. The vast majority of premature deaths can be prevented through simple changes in diet. In How Not to Die, which is a book that I'm suggesting you buy and read, Dr. Greger, the internationally recognized lecturer, physician, and founder of nutritionfacts.org, and I also recommend you go to that website and watch his videos, examines the 15 top causes of death in America. Heart disease, various cancers, diabetes, Parkinson's disease, high blood pressure, and more, and explains how nutritional and lifestyle interventions can sometimes trump prescription pills and other pharmaceutical and surgical approaches, freeing us to live healthier lives. The simple truth is that most doctors are good at treating acute illnesses, and this is why I'm not against medicine. Medicine is amazing at saving lives, okay? It's with the management of chronic diseases that it becomes a problem. So you have to remember, medicine is great at treating acute illnesses, but bad at preventing chronic diseases. The 15 leading causes of death claim the lives of 1.6 million Americans annually. This doesn't have to be the case. By following Dr. Greger's advice, all of it backed up by peer-reviewed scientific evidence, you will learn which foods to eat and which lifestyle changes to make to live longer. The history of prostate cancer in your family, put down that glass of milk and blah, blah, blah. Just watch this video and move. So this is the How Not to Die book here. This goes over everything I just covered, but this is How Not to Die, Discover the Foods Scientifically Proven to Prevent and Reverse Disease. So definitely look over this. This is the book here, and I would strongly advise people to purchase the book, read the book. It's a good book. There's also a How Not to Die cookbook. A colleague of his is Dr. Joel Fuhrman. I also recommend reading at least his cookbooks. I do think there are better books on diet than his nutritarian book, but his nutritarian concept is excellent, but it's also exemplified in other authors. So this is the Atkins Age-Defying Diet book. This goes over both what to eat and it also goes over in depth the cross-linking theory of aging and why we age. He also goes over different hormonal therapies and things of that nature. This book is indispensable for those that don't want to get old prematurely. And I'm going to move on. So there was research done on something called the Eco-Atkins diet, which is a vegan version of the traditional ketogenic Atkins diet, although you're not really going to get too ketogenic on an Eco-Atkins diet. It's more so like the ongoing weight loss phase of the Atkins diet, for those that are familiar with it. But this is my playlist where I talk about Eco-Atkins. Now, this is Dr. Atkins at the USDA thing, and I've gone over this. The Atkins diet was well ahead of its time, regardless of what people might say. I know vegans will hate me for saying that, but he was well ahead of his time. And this is a playlist on what I consider the prospects of the Eco-Atkins diet. This is Joel Fuhrman talking about it. One of the great things about the Atkins Age-Defying Diet is that Dr. Atkins goes over the phytonutrient content of various fruits, vegetables, and spices in relation to the amount of total carbohydrate, which is in reality the calorie content. So what you want is high phytonutrient content and lower caloric content. You want to get enough healthy fats that you have healthy cell membranes and you're making the right hormones. And you want to get an ample amount of health-promoting protein. Okay, and this is the basis of the Atkins Age-Defying Diet, and that's why I recommend people read that book. And if you're going to do an Atkins-style diet, I recommend you do it as plant-based as possible, and I recommend you read up on the Eco-Atkins diet. Moving on. So this woman's name is, and I'm going to have fun trying to say this again, this doctor's name is Dr. Rajshri Nambudrapad. Rajshri Nambudrapad. And she's a medical doctor, and she does complementary medicine, I believe. I'm going to go over a couple of her. She is a wonderful resource for information. Before I continue, I want to make sure people know this. Any of the people I'm mentioning here, I don't know any of them. I am not friends with any of these people. None of these people share my political views. These are just people that I like, that I think offer information, offer resources that can help you get better, okay? This is not, I don't know these people. They certainly don't share any of my political views that I'm aware of. And I don't want people associating these people with my political belief systems or my political views, as that would be inaccurate. And I know that might be common for people to do if they want to try and discredit these people. And these people, no, I don't know them. I'm not friends with them. I don't share any political views with them. The only view I share with these people is a desire to help people feel well through the use of nutrigenomics and nutrient therapies. I don't know Dr. Wallach. I don't know Dr. Kaufman. I don't know Dr. Levine. I don't know Dr. Fitzgerald. I don't know any of these people, nor do any of these people know me. I don't talk to any of these people. I have talked to Dr. Levine on Instagram here and there, but she doesn't know me. We're not friends or anything like that. I just decided to follow her, and I think she's a really sweet person. I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe she blocked me, actually, most likely due to the fact that she saw some of my political views, and of course she is of a certain ethnicity, and she might believe some things about me that aren't necessarily true. I think Dr. Levine is a lovely person that does so much good for humanity. And it's important that she knows that. I doubt she still subscribes to my channel, though. Moving on. So this is Dr. Rajshri Nambudrapad's office. It's called, I think, Orange County Integrative Medicine. Dr. Rajshri Nambudrapad. And I really hope I'm not butchering the hell out of that. That's her phone number, that's her address, that's her Facebook, that's her Instagram, that's her Google Plus, I assume, and that is her YouTube. And it goes over things like integrative and functional medicine. You can learn more. Bioidentical hormone treatments, functional gastroenterology. This is the kind of medicine that will make you get well. This is not about, oh, we're going to milk you and manage you and, you know, all this stuff. And no, this is the kind of medicine where there is actual testing, actual intervention, actually getting to the source of the problem and actually doing something. I like Dr. Nambudrapad. I like Dr. Nambudrapad's videos. I think she, again, like Dr. Levine, I think she is a wonderfully sweet person. You can tell that she really desires to help the public, and that's probably the main reason she's putting out the videos like she puts out. It's obviously not to get wealthy. She's already most likely very wealthy. And moving on. If you're looking to shop for supplements that can help you feel better, I'm going to be honest, I don't use any of Dr. Nambudrapad's supplements, dietary supplements. I don't use any of her supplements, so I can't give you that, but I can say this is a resource where you can get supplements. See, I get most of my supplements off of Amazon. I get a lot of generic supplements, stuff like that. I would say that Dr. Nambudrapad is somebody you can trust. When you get supplements like I get, I'll be honest, you are taking somewhat of a chance. And I don't think you're taking the same chance if you're getting supplements from a source like Dr. Nambudrapad. So I'm just throwing that out there, but definitely check this site out if you're interested in looking at her site. These are some of the supplements that she carries: berberine, digestive enzymes, magnesium, oregano oil, motility activator, probiotics, methyl B, so that's premethylated B complex. This is, I think, garlic. This is vitamin D3 and K2. This is L-glutamine. That's a probiotic there. Okay, this is omega-3 fish oil. This is another probiotic. Essential calcium, glutathione, coenzyme Q10, butyrate. Okay, candida support, estrogen balancer. Okay, so you can see multivitamin with iron, DHEA 5 milligrams. That is a nice low dose of DHEA. The one problem you have with DHEA is a lot of people have them at too high of a dose where you can get side effects. That's a nice low dose that'll keep the side effects to a minimum, if any at all. That's a histamine support, so it helps with histamine, blocking of histamines, I would assume. This is multivitamin without iron. As a vegan, I take a multivitamin with iron every day, but I do take a Centrum or whatever. But yeah, selenium, aloe pro, zinc, probiotic. As you notice, methylation support, that can help. Again, remember, you want to take your methyl donors, and on top of that, you want to take your autonomic adaptogens. But I just thought it would be nice for me to go over this. These are, I would trust Dr. Nambudrapad. I am saying that I think that her videos are top notch. I believe, and again, obviously I don't know her. I don't use these supplements. I've never purchased these supplements, but I trust her. The videos she puts out are good. The fact that she has a practice is a good sign. The fact that she's practicing integrative medicine in reality and not just online, that's a good sign. I think she is a trustworthy person. And again, I don't know her, but all signs point to her being a trustworthy person and a decent doctor that wants to help the public. Moving. So who is Dr. Sandra Kaufman? You'll notice the people that I like to take advice from, these are not just, people that are just off the street, hippie people. I'm not taking health advice from Sverige or Frank Tufano. These people are the experts of experts. These are not morons, okay? So who is Dr. Sandra Kaufman? And I would highly advise that if you're taking advice about your health, don't take the advice of morons, okay? Don't take the advice of Sverige or Frank Tufano or any of these kooks. Look at these people, see what their qualifications are, look at what they're doing, and see if you agree with it. Dr. Sandra Kaufman, this is a little bit about Sandra Kaufman, and you'll, I think, see very quickly why I trust her medical opinion. So Dr. Kaufman began her academic career in the field of cellular biology, earning a master's degree from the University of Connecticut in tropical ecology and plant physiology. Turning to medicine, she received her medical degree at the University of Maryland and completed a residency and fellowship at Johns Hopkins in the field of pediatric anesthesiology. For the last 5 years, she has been the chief of pediatric anesthesia at Joe DiMaggio Hospital, or Children's Hospital, a nationally recognized center of excellence. Most recently, she was recognized as Best in Medicine by the American Health Council. Her avid interest in the science of anti-aging began many years ago as an intense hobby, utilizing her knowledge in cell biology, human pharmacology, and physiology. This hobby has now become a main focus. The project represents years of non-clinical research leading to the first ever comprehensive theory of aging. These are her accreditations, the Qualitude Scientific Advisory Board member, Libella Principal Investigator, affiliations, BioLite, People Unlimited, lectures, Extreme Leadership Conference, Intragen Group, Regenerative Medicine, Southern California Longevity Association. These are some of her podcasts: Living Beyond 100, Ben Greenfield Fitness, Truly Alive, Humerian, Dr. Wheats, magazine features, Good Health Magazine. This is her first book that I would recommend people read. It's called The Kaufman Protocol, Why We Age and How to Stop It. Okay. It goes over the 7 tenets of aging. Now, if you only want to buy one of her books, I would recommend buying both. But if you only want to buy one, I would recommend buying this book, The Kaufman Protocol, Aging Solutions. It goes over most of what's in the first book. Plus, it goes over all of the nutrients and orthomolecular compounds you're going to be taking. Or what I would call geroprotectors. And these are some praise from other doctors and such. Okay, moving on. So this YouTube channel is called Chris Beat Cancer. The one playlist that's linked in the prescription is Chris's interviews with various health professionals, doctors, many of whom are natural oncologists. So plant-based diets and nutraceuticals restore health, blah, blah, blah. Dr. T. Colin Campbell on the China study, Dr. Christine Northrup, Dodging Energy Vampires, Reversing Disease with Plant-Based Nutrition, Natural Cancer Treatment, Joel Kahn, MD, The Plant-Based Diet, How to Reduce Cancer Risk, Assembly Line Medicine, IV Vitamin C, How to Sleep Better, Dr. Walter Longo, okay, Suzanne Mako, Dr. Michael Greger, The Starch Solution, Treating and Preventing Childhood Disease. You can go down and down and down and down. There's over 100 videos here of him interviewing various doctors, nurses, and healthcare providers on how to heal disease naturally. Okay? So keep that in mind. This is Chris Beat Cancer. That's the channel, the YouTube channel. So this is Chris Beat Cancer, Chris's website here. This is where you want to start, he says. 11-minute video recording, blah, blah, blah. Cancer risk, blah, da, 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 da. I would highly recommend going to his website. He has a book. I've never read his book, but he has so much free information online. It's ridiculous. As far as I know, now people know I'm not a devout Christian, but Chris is a devout Christian, and he's a very caring person. And again, he's somebody that just wants to help the public. He puts out a lot. This is Beat Cancer Kitchen, Beat Cancer Daily, Chris Beat Cancer, the original book. But what you have to understand is this gentleman, he has put out so much free information that it's worth looking into. Simply watching those interviews. And people might be going, well, why are you putting on all this stuff about reversing aging? And why are you putting on all this stuff about cancer prevention and reversal of disease and all this if we're talking about mental health? Well, a lot of the issues, like I pointed out earlier, a lot of the issues like cognitive issues and behavioral health issues, these things are caused by the same things: oxidative stress, methylation issues, and to be honest, we are now getting to the point where through nutrigenomics and epigenetics, we have learned that we can alter the way that our genes are expressed through lifestyle changes, predominantly diet, but also exercise and nutraceutical supplementation. My point is that a lot of the things that cause other diseases also cause mental health troubles, particularly cognitive troubles. And cognitive troubles can cause things like short temper. It can cause things like just being grumpy. It can cause things like depression, okay, anxiety, panic. Anxiety can be the direct result of low blood sugar. It can be the direct result of low magnesium. It can be the direct result of a calcium imbalance. It can be the direct result of dehydration. So by psychiatrists not looking into what the root cause of these issues are, and by mental health practitioners not looking into what's causing these behavioral anomalies, they're really doing a disservice to their clients. Apparently, I didn't need 2 videos, which is a good thing. I didn't feel like making 2 videos. But definitely look into the information I'm providing here. See what you like. Expand your knowledge base. And that's all for this video.